Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to create an elevational drape for some imagery. And the imagery we're going to be working with to start is a SID file. Now, a SID file we're not able to create a drape material from, so we're going to have to convert the SID to a format such as PNG or TIFF or JPEG that we can work with. If our imagery is already in that format and georeferenced or referenced, we can pick it up accordingly, the process. So to start, I'm going to come into my raster manager and I'm going to attach the SID file. And before I attach it, I want to take note of the 10,000 by 10,000 dimension of the file, the origin X and Y, and I want to jot that down. That's going to be important in positioning of our elevational drape. So I'm going to just come in here and attach it, and you'll see the SID file loads, and the SID file is just a very compressed high resolution image format. So now we have that SID file loaded, but as I said, I need to convert it, so I need to create an extra step here, and I just simply do a save as, and I select a format such as PNG that will be supported in our materials palette, and I save that. So once saved, I can basically detach my image file and I can set up my material. So I'm going to come into Settings, Rendering, Materials, and I want to create a new material. Now I may want to put this in a palette, you know, elevational drapes or something, but I'm going to call this material Aerial 2. And then I want to come in here and use the pattern map that's not currently defined. I want to navigate to the PNG file that I just saved. So I'm going to come in to Civil Projects and Imagery, and I can see the PNG file that I just saved. So it's going to take a couple seconds to load into my material editor. And once loaded, it'll display in a preview window. Now remember, we put down, or we jotted down the size, which was 10,000 by 10,000. And again, this may take a few seconds while the image updates in our material, but I'm working on it real time here, so it shouldn't be that great. And then once the X and Y size scales out, I next want to add my position. So the offset is the position where the elevational material sits. So my X is set to, and this refers to the lower left-hand corner of your image. So if you're working with a raw image that you had to position over top of your design, you would use AccuSnap and get the X and Y coordinates. So I'm going to enter in those values that I saved. And in a second I'll enter the Y value. And then I want to go to the mapping portion, and I want to set the mapping to elevational drape. And now I'm set to attach my material. So I can close this dialog, and I can use the Assign Material option in my material palette. And what I need before I assign the material is I need a surface to assign it to. So I'm working in Power Civil here, and I'm going to open up my DTM menu. And also you want to be sure you're in a 3D file. And I want to load my DTM. So now I have a tin that's loaded, and the tin loads essentially as a mesh, which makes it real easy to assign the material. So I'm going to click Assign by Color and Level, and then I'm just going to come out here and select the mesh, and it's going to pick up the level and color, and then accept it by data point, and my material's been assigned. So how do I view it? Is I come into my V8i view window, and I change it from wireframe to, in this case, smooth with shadows. And you can see it only drapes it on the mesh. Next I can come in and rotate, and I can finish off my rendering by putting a sky palette or draping actual elements on top of the material. And that's all there is to it. Pretty easy.